I'm on a plane headed to Uruguay to Chile, flying through the Andes Mountains. It is October 13th, Friday. Fog and mist. The plane hits an air pocket and drops down, and suddenly, we were surrounded by the mountains. My best friend Panchito Abal has the window seat. We switched just moments before. Panchito looks out the window. He thinks we're too close. We clip the side of a mountain. A wing goes flying, slicing off the back of the plane. People are sucked out into the mist. The plane leans, clips another mountain. I stand to brace myself as the wingless craft crashes onto the mountain. I'm thrown forward, hit a wall, and black out. I am Nando Parado, and I'm stranded in the Andes Mountains. It is hard to believe that just a few days ago, we were at the airport in Uruguay. We are an amateur rugby team, on our way to Chile to compete against a British team. We invited friends and family to join us, to save on the price. I brought along my mother, Eugenia, and my younger sister, Susana. In all, there are 40 passengers aboard, plus the 2 pilots and 3 crew. Not long after takeoff, we landed in Mendoza, Argentina. Bad weather. We took the day to meet girls, go to movies, shop. My mother brought liquor for friends and baby shoes for her grandchild. We went back to the plane the next day, and soon after that, the crash. When I open my eyes, it is silent and cramped. I am lying among my friends. My first thought, my mother, my sister Susana. Where are they? Roberto Canessa, one of my teammates and a medical student, tells me that my mother died in the crash. My sister is still alive, barely. I have been unconscious for 2 days. Only 29 of us survived. My best friend Panchito Abal survived the crash, but died in the freezing night. Both pilots are dead. Our food is mainly snacks, chocolates, crackers, dried fruits. There are no flares to alert the planes that fly overhead. I go to take care of my sister. She's laid up. Her feet are frostbitten and black. I break up pieces of chocolate and feed them to her. The night comes early in the mountains. The icy wind blows through our meager barricade of piled up wreckage. I embrace Susana completely to keep her warm, but neither of us gets much sleep. She wakes up frequently, calling out for our mother. On day 4, I tell my friend Carlitos Paez that we need to escape, find our way down the mountain. Before the co-pilot died, he assured Roberto that we had crossed the border into Chile, right? We just need to continue going west. Some of the others have made an attempt already, using the seats from the plane as snowshoes. But underfed and at such an altitude, they were exhausted quickly and returned. Day 8, I wake up in the middle of the night, my sister Susana in my arms. She is motionless, breathless, cold to the touch. I try to revive her, do all I can, but it does not matter. My mother died in the crash. Now, my sister has died in my arms. It is a small comfort, but at least I was able to be with her. As the days pass, some try to distract themselves to make the time pass, playing games and telling stories. It doesn't work. Finally, the conversation comes up again. What do we do about food? Most of us agree that we'll die if we don't take extreme measures. We have to start eating the meat of our dead family and friends. It is not cannibalism. It is a means to live. Canessa is the first to take action, using broken glass as a knife. He cuts a strip of meat from a body. Only a few can bring themselves to join him in eating the flesh. Day 11. A few days ago, our team captain, Marcelo Perez, and Roy Harley found a transistor radio among the wreckage. They've managed to get it working and hear broadcasts from outside. A rescue attempt was made. A search was conducted. But now it has been called off. We are truly alone. With no hope, and knowing that no rescue is on its way, the rest of us finally eat the meat of our former friends. Day 17. It's night, and all I know is that I was asleep until just a moment ago. I realize I am covered in snow. Somehow snow has gotten into the plane and buried us. An avalanche. But I heard nothing, saw nothing until this moment. I can feel the weight of it on my chest. I take small breaths, trying to survive. It's not helping. My lungs can't handle it. I feel myself getting dizzy. I know what's happening. I'm dying. This is it. And suddenly, I see the light. The snow is scraped off my face. My friends uncover me, pull me out. Others do the same around me. When all is over, we take stock. 8 have died in the avalanche. 19 of us are left. We have no more blankets or cushions, and much of the fuselage is so full of snow we can no longer stand. After an hour, we hear a dull roar, a rumble over our heads. A second avalanche buries us further. We pile the dead where we can and take refuge in a tiny area near the cockpit. It's cold and damp, impossible to sleep, impossible to breathe. We are losing oxygen. I look around and see an aluminum cargo pole in the snow. No time to think. I grab for it, get on my knees, and stab upwards over and over again, until, miraculously, I break through the ceiling. I keep pushing it up, fighting the packed snow. The pole breaks through. It's just a few feet of snow on top of us. I pull the pipe back in. Now there is fresh air circulating. We next try to make an exit. We tunnel through the snow that keeps us from the cockpit. Hours later, Roy Harley gets in and pushes a window free, climbs through the opening, the first of us in hours to see what's outside. He comes back down. There's a blizzard. We have no choice but to wait it out. After weeks of preparation and waiting for the weather to change, Roberto Canessa, Tintin Visintin, and myself make our way down the slopes. It's not long before Roberto, walking ahead, makes a discovery. The tail of the plane that was ripped off during the crash. We find food supplies, meat pastries, a moldy sandwich, chocolates, and rum. We find a camera, luggage full of new warm clothes. We take the supplies back with us, but the return trip is all uphill. By the time we return to the others with our new bounty, we have been gone 6 days. And though we are greeted as returning heroes with fresh supplies, we are no closer to getting help. Summer finally shows its face. The snow is melting and the tail section is becoming easier to get to. 4 of us make a return trip to salvage what we can. More debris is starting to appear, like my mother's luggage, with the liquor and food she brought, and the red baby shoes. But the melting snow also means the dead bodies are rotting in the sun. Condors fly overhead. Now we have to bury them, not for a funeral, but to preserve our food source. In the meantime, we continue to prepare for an expedition. Tintin, Roberto, and myself will attempt to climb the mountains and get help. The morning of December 12th, we begin our journey. We bring a sleeping bag made of insulation and copper wire. Layers upon layers of clothes we found in the luggage, supplies of meat, a compass from the plane. I leave behind one of the red shoes my mother bought for my nephew. I tell those that remain that I will return for the other shoe, and although I don't like the idea, I tell them that if it is a matter of survival, it is okay with me if they start to eat my mother and sister, whose bodies have so far gone untouched. It is after 5 a.m. when we begin. The snow is hard-packed, perfect for traveling, but of course, it cannot stay that way. The sun rises, the snow becomes mush. We sink up to our knees, and at this altitude, it's 1 foot forward for every 5 breaths taken. As the sun starts to go down, we begin to panic. There's no level place to make camp. We continue climbing until we come upon a trench, a solid wall of snow keeping it from the wing. We rest there for the night, and the strangest thing happens. Looking out over the valley, seeing the stars, the snow, the peaks, the wreck a tiny speck in the distance, it is beautiful. The majesty of nature is not lost on us, even as it's trying to kill us. It takes us 3 days. We have done it. We've reached the summit. But no, it's a false summit. There's nothing to see beyond it except more mountains as far as the eye can see. An impenetrable wall. There is no surviving this. But I'll die trying. Roberto agrees. We must continue. Tintin decides to return to the plane, leaving us clothes and food. Roberto and I continue. Day 7. It is afternoon now and I hear a sound. A white noise. A river. We round a cliff and come upon the source, a jet of water flowing from an ice wall. The water cascades down the valley, and we can see where it widens until it becomes a stream in this distance. Roberto and I follow the path of the water. We finally cross the line from snow to dry land, a partial relief. Now, we must climb through the boulder fields. It takes hours to climb over, around, and through, until we finally reach flatter terrain. Day 8. Roberto says he sees animals in the distance. If he says so, sure. But I'm not going to get my hopes up over what an exhausted, delirious man thinks he sees. We keep walking. He picks up a rusted soup can, a sign that civilization is near. We begin to see piles of cow manure, horse droppings, and finally, a herd of cattle. It must mean there is a farmer. Day 9. We follow a partial trail, made no doubt by the cows. The roar of the river gets louder. Finally, we round a bend. Another river flows into ours, the two connecting at a point that cuts off our trail. This is the end of the road. We settle in for the night, but our spirits are low. We are too weak to hunt. Suddenly, Roberto cries out. Across the river, a man on a horse. The man shouts to us, but he is drowned out by the river. All I can hear him say is, "Mañana," and he rides away. Day 10. We wait before dawn to see 3 men across the river. We try shouting at each other, but we are still unable to hear one another over the river. One of them takes paper and pencil, ties them to a rock, and tosses them across the river. Finally, I can tell someone who we are. I can tell them we are alive, that there are more of us. By 9 a.m., another man on a horse arrives, on our side of the river. He feeds us cheese. We never tasted something so good. After tending to his sheeps, he returns to us and takes us to Los Matines, Chile. It is December 21st, 72 days since the crash. It is a whirlwind after that. Roberto and I are given real food. Journalists start appearing, asking us questions. Someone gives me a map and asks me to point out where the crash site is, so they can launch a rescue. I draw a circle. They cannot believe it. They tell me we never made it out of Argentina. Roberto and I walked almost 40 miles. Then I am asked to guide helicopters to the crash site. They doubt me the entire time, and it is not until we get to the site that I realize why. The fuselage is white. In the snow, it's completely camouflaged. I barely see it until we are just 300 yards away. I tell them to get closer. I know this is the place. And finally, we see the others. They wave to us, calling and crying out. As the helicopters land to take the survivors, all I can think is that we are all alive. They are alive. I am alive. I am Nando Parado, and I survived. Not just the plane crash, but 72 days in the Andes.